Hello, everybody. Thank you for tuning in to Channel BK. My name is Gotcha. Gotcha. We're in the month of spoofiness with all the tricks and treats. I got you. That was a trick. That was a trick. Yep, that's a trick, all right. Well, there's tricks and treats. That was a trick, but I got a treat for all of you. So reason for that terrible intro is on my solo channel BK, I used to do album reviews, and now I do classic album reviews, which you should check out, youtube.com/channel BK. The treat part of it is that here on the Rascals, I'm actually doing an album review. What? A brand new album review of the new Yellowcard album, Better Days, their 11th studio album. This is my favorite band, and I thought that I would discuss the album with all of you, and also because I'm a simp for this band. They're my favorite, but I can admit certain things about them, like when there's very kind of cringy lawsuits, or something that's even maybe a little cringier, like I don't know, maybe doing like a cover of a Disney song, because why would you want to do that? That's a segue into this album cover. What the hell is this? Like, who agreed to this? Like, I saw this cover and I immediately did this because I'm like, who in their right mind agreed to this?
What the fuck are we doing, boys?
So obviously Yellowcard is a famed pop punk band who has been around for a long ass time now. They ended up finishing their career, mainly disbanding in 2016, and ever since then they all have been kind of doing their own thing and living their own lives. And 2022, Riot Fest asked them to come back and perform for the 20th anniversary of Ocean Avenue. And, obviously it was a big deal. And then after that, they've been, going on tour a bunch. And they were doing that album tour for the anniversary. We got an EP, Childhood Eyes, which I think is fantastic. I love it to death. It's a great mix of everything Yellowcard is known for and what they were hopefully trying to do experimental wise in the future. Then we started getting all these teasers of stay tuned, blah 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 blah, and Travis Barker. And for whatever reason, I was pretty stupid to not think like he's probably just going to do all the songs for the album, because ever since LP left, they've been going through kind of a revolving door of artists that have been drumming for them. Their main drummer as of right now is from Like Torches, which is their main touring drummer that's been with them. So with Travis's involvement, and then when I started hearing things that he is very heavily involved in the production, I was like, oh man, because there's good stuff off that new Blink-182 record, but let me tell you, there's a lot of stuff that kind of makes me cringe a little bit and does not sound great. So I'm like, oh god, this is nerve-wracking. What is this gonna be? And I'm not gonna get into the singles now, because I'm just gonna start with talking about the album, because at the end of the day, do I like this album? Yeah, I do. It's definitely not in my top Yellowcard albums, and I think the EP is much better than this. But there's stuff on here that I do enjoy. So I'm going to kind of run through a couple different negative things and then detail them a little bit, which is there are certain things on here that Travis does where it's like the beatmaker version of like a tag, where it's him. They do a thing with his drums, like recently, where they like compress them in a way and they put this like sheeny poppiness on them, and it sounds bad. And there's moments on here that they do that, and I'm like, no, stop it. Stop it. Bad. No bueno. The second thing on this album that's very prevalent, speaking of Blink, it reminds me of the Neighborhoods album, but not nearly as weird, because obviously they're all in different parts of the country, and the album, it's not like it sounds all over the place, but there's definitely times in songs where it feels like there's sort of a laziness, especially with like Sean on violin, where it feels like they're just inserting him for little solos or little like bridges, where not all Yellowcard songs are like that. The final thing is, I feel like this is their most like safe record since Southern Air. I fucking love Southern Air. And I think that was my favorite album of that year. But the problem is that album sounded much better. And I think, you know, that being 13 years ago now, like, there's stuff on here where I'm kind of like, you know, it is what it is. Which is the debut single from this album, Better Days, self-titled single. It's fine. Realistically, it's not a terrible song. I think, unlike, it feels like a sequel to Ocean Avenue. But Ocean Avenue was written or put out like 22 years ago at this point. And that song was, you know, they were young guys writing it. And so there's angst there, and it's fine for that reason. Here, it's like the equivalent of when people didn't like the second American football record. Like, it's very sappy, but sappy in a way where it's sappy and it's like it's not specific and it's not clever. It's so generic and it's so broad that it's like, it sounds fine, and it's, you know, it's not including the annoying drum fill near the end where I'm like, that sounds like fucking Travis, which again made me nervous. But overall, this song, it's fine. Like, it's whatever. Take what you want. I really dig. This song, I like the way that Travis's drumming on the chorus and the verses is very different. I really like the verses on here. I think some of the lyrics on here can be interpreted like, okay, like, really? But I actually think some of them are really cool. I think the simplicity of, you know, so close but so far away, I really like that. I like this. It's sort of like in your face. It punches you. It gets going and it leaves. It's one of the I think it's like the shortest track on the album as well. And I definitely think that it is a highlight for me. Love Letters Lost, though. I was not ready for this song to be so fucking good. Matt Skiba, Alkaline Trio, and Blink fame. I'm going to be ignorant. I don't really know Alkaline Trio, but I'm listening to this song and I'm like, yeah, I could see this being a song that Matt Skiba works on, especially that bridge with that kind of weird sounding like 90s alt rock riff. I think it works. I think this song is by far one of the top songs on this album, which is then followed by one of my other favorite songs, Honestly I. This was the single where I went, here we go. I think this is one of the most interesting Yellowcard songs since like the Paper Walls When You're Through Thinking era. Travis's drum fill on here is fantastic. I think the way that Ryan is storytelling on here, I think is really well done, and it's a well-written song. And I love the fact that the violins are like all over this track, and it's not just this really weird solo moment. And the part where the song kind of slows down near the end, again, the bridge part, it actually works for the song. I think the song as a whole works very, very well, and it's all well put together. You Broke Me Too with Avril Lavigne. I'm going to be honest, the song isn't really that terrible. The problem with it is it does feel very dated. Avril doesn't really add anything for me. I don't say that as necessarily like a negative. It's just, okay, like, I was expecting it to not be as tolerable as it was, but again, it has kind of a datedness to it. But that does not even come close to the following song, City of Angels. I'm gonna keep it 100, like, you know, as Cam Ward once said, you know, I'm gonna keep it a buck. We ass. This song, oh my god, like, I'm sorry guys, this is not it. It is so drab, and it is so lifeless, and it's overproduced, and I was like, like when the second the song came on, I went, nope, tapping out. Nope, we're just gonna forget the song ever happened, because honestly, I think this is one of the worst songs they've ever done. Like, it was like, no. Bedroom Posters, I think, is a really good track. Again, I think the theme of it and the storytelling of it and the perspective that Ryan is writing from, it's, you know, it can come off as like a little corny, but I think he performs it very well, and the way he builds the story, I think, is really good. And again, it feels specific, but it's done in a clever way. Like, again, I don't care if things can be corny or on the nose, because this is Yellowcard. I don't think Yellowcard is a band that is so just, they're not like one of these newer pop punk groups. They come from that era. But again, I think when they do things well, they do things well. This song works for me. I really like the groove. I like that it's a more like slower kind of ballady song. And again, I think the approach is really good on here. And then we get to Skin Scraped and Barely Alive, which weirdly enough, both of these songs drum fills, and even from the approach of the songs, they sound exactly like a Blink-182 song. Skin Scraped is not nearly as bad because I think it's one of the other best tracks on the album. I think this song is, it's intense, in your face, and it's one of those moments on the record where there's more bite going on here. Barely Alive, it reminds me of the newer Blink when it comes to Travis's drums, and it's a weird song for me to be second to last, especially because the last song is like an acoustic ballad. So I think this could have been swapped with Skin Scrape, to be honest. I think it kind of messes with the flow. And then Big Blue Eyes, it's sappy and corny and emotional. I like it. It is what it is. It's one of those things where I know some people maybe say, even if it's sentimental and it's like personal, even if it's not written well, they're like, well, it's still whatever. I think it's fine. I think it's written perfectly fine. I wish some of the overlay on it was not there, because again, that's where I come from with like One More Time. The thing about it is, Tom is not an amazing singer, and Ryan, I think, is a much better singer, but there's a way for me to listen to something and clearly tell, yeah, they kind of clean the vocals up a bit, versus they clean them and then they put all this shit on top of it. And it's not nearly as bad as some of the songs on that album, because I actually think production-wise, it's not nearly as over the top. Like, it's a lot more simple, but it is what it is. It ends the album. I think it's fine. Again, I think if you are a Yellowcard fan, you're going to get your fix for this album. It does not feel nearly as adventurous as some of their last albums before they took a break, or, they went on their... At the time, they were breaking up, and now it's a hiatus. And, there are songs on here, though, that are bangers. Honestly, I think my problem is there's not as much that sticks out to me. And then I think the bad moments on here are some of, like, the weakest stuff they've done, like, in their career. We'll see if this is kind of the beginning of them actually coming back. Who knows if this is just an album to sort of put out there, and now they're kind of doing what MCR did, because they're all so busy, but they do all this touring and then they tease me, Swarm. What does it mean? I just want a new album from you guys. I'm jealous of Eric. Eric has this funny, goofy little rating system, but I'm going to steal the GOAT, Conan O'Brien, his rating scale when he does Clueless Gamer. If we're going to talk about cards and the color of cards, if Yellowcard is the artist we're talking about, if I had to give this a review, I'd say a red card is not so good. We got a green card, which is really, really good. We got a purple card, which is maybe a little bit suspect, but at the end of the day, you still go back to it. I'm gonna say that this is a pink card, which is, you know what it is, but it's still delightful, even though it has its problems. What did you all think of the new Yellowcard album? Are you with me on it? Do you not care? Again, I thought this would be fun to do an album review of this. And plus, I didn't know how I was going to do this, so you're probably have been watching like concert footage and hearing whatever underneath all this. But if you liked, please subscribe. We did a bunch of other reviews. This is the first music one. But the last few reviews we did, Eric did a double movie review during the summer. So check that out. My first review was of Doom: The Dark Ages. Check that out as well. You'll have the playlist popping up. And yeah, go check out the rest of our content, and go check out my solo stuff if you want to hear me, I should say, talk about classic album reviews. I also have a show with Joshua Kirk where we talk about music. Maybe I'll be talking about this. Who knows? But until next time, toodaloo!